everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. I have a vintage shirt from the 80s here that I've kind of crumpled up because I have the feeling the perfume that I'm going to show to you and we're going to review today matches this tone of kind of not effortless, I don't know, careless times, but at the same time everything is striped in a way like a prison. Dior has written me a letter to invite me to sample this fragrance and to give me this exclusive little bottle, 7.5 ml splash bottle. They were hoping I was going to purchase it probably, but I mean, if you're inviting me to give me a free little tiny bottle, don't expect me to buy it. I first have to test it, right? So, Rouge Trafalgar. By the way, first and foremost, thank you to my patrons for helping me support and sustain the channel. For you guys on Patreon, this video will be ad-free, while on YouTube ads will be running through the video. Oops. So there you have it, guys. Thank you so much. Now let's get straight to the review. Now I have tried this prior several times. Let's just put it on so we can kind of get straight into it while I'm talking. So we're going to put it here. Ooh, look at that. Now that is a substantial amount. Let's just say more than I would care to have on my skin. Okay, let's close it. Okay, it's there. What's the bottom part? Okay, well, let's leave it open. So, Rouge Trafalgar. Right. Yes. Released in 2020, so this is the newest release by Dior in this year. I mean, there are going to be more probably, but from their Maison Dior fragrance range, this is the newest release, the newest offering. And as the color might already suggest, what we're dealing with here is a rosy, raspberry-ish, strawberry-ish type of concoction. What does this mean? Let's get to the notes and then we're going to see. We got cherries, we got mandarin orange, we got raspberry. Oh, what a surprise. We got strawberry. Then we got, that's all top notes. Then we got black currant in the mid notes, grapefruit, and then the base notes we got musk and patchouli. Believe it or not, there's patchouli in there, but I don't really smell out of patchouli ever in here. But anyway, so I don't want to be too sarcastic about it. I mean, it's complicated. Rouge Trafalgar does not, and this is something that we've had this issue, or I've had this issue with the Maison Dior fragrances from the get-go, really. Well, no, not true. I mean, when it was still called a Dior Privé range, it was a different story, but since they've, stepped it up and, stepped it up, not necessarily in a good way, but since they've added more and more fragrances to the range, and since it's become Maison Dior, and since, Demachy is completely taking over everything, even the perfumes that he did not formulate himself, he's changing them and turning them into his creations and putting his label and his name on perfumes that were originally not his. It's all become quite, I don't know, like a mad game. And I mean, releasing so many fragrances every year, you could do a good job every single time, yes, but I think to give depth of character to these fragrances, you really need to work a bit longer on them. And I don't know, I have the feeling that these major brands that can afford to, produce their own perfumes and have their own in-house perfumers and that don't really promote their fragrance, their niche, what they consider what they sell as niche and as exclusive fragrances. They don't need to really invest a lot of money in promoting them. Like, they're kind of, I don't want to say they're becoming lazy, but they're quick in releasing perfumes, and these perfumes don't show much character. In fact, many times what happens is these perfumes get released and then they just get discontinued soon after because nobody's really purchasing them. But I have the feeling these brands are giving me the impression that they don't even really care. It's like, okay, we're releasing it. No, it's a momentum and then it's gone and whatever. It's like, well, so you don't even care about the consumer, because if somebody really does fall in love with this perfume and then let's say a year later can't find it anymore, that's not cool either. In terms of being a luxury brand that delivers some sort of stability, because I believe that luxury is also stability. And I think part of stability is being able to say, we're producing, okay, it's not selling that much, but it costs a lot. And that compensates for the fact that it isn't sold that much. So we're going to keep it in production because that's part of luxury. It's also about comfort. Now, back to the perfume itself. This is an eau de parfum concentration. Longevity, it lasts. And the more you apply, the more you put on and the more it lasts. And it's gonna, on me, it goes for 8 to 10 hours. And it's quite linear, meaning what we have in the opening stays the same way till the bottom. It's not as sticky as early 2000s sweet chulis would have been. However, there is a candy component in there. The strawberry in here is a candy strawberry. It's a sugar-coated strawberry candy. It's like a candy drop. It's not a fresh, plucked in, I don't know, June or July strawberry that grows in the garden, or wild strawberries, which are even more delicious if you're lucky enough to find them in the forests. No, this is an artificial, in-lab produced, synthetic, candy-coated, sugar-coated strawberry. In the opening notes, you get more of the raspberry. The more time passes and the more the strawberry kicks in. The raspberry being slightly more watery and natural smelling, even though it's also artificial, but the strawberry is the one that, because it's so sugar-coated, it kind of takes over the raspberry. So in the opening first impression, you get a raspberry, but very soon after that, the strawberry kicks in. So right now we have that strawberry. What also is listed is the cherry. But with the cherry, I would be a little bit cautious. Why am I saying this? Because we all know the most famous cherry from Dior's offerings is not the Sakura cherry, like cherry blossom idea of the Maison Dior fragrance. No, the famous cherry, my modest opinion, the famous Dior cherry is the cough syrup smelling cherry within Hypnotic Poison, the Eau de Parfum concentration, the first one released. I haven't smelled the latest formulation, and I do believe it's been reformulated. A lot of you are saying it's been reformulated. I mean, the bottle has changed slightly, and they kind of changed the design of their bottles. They update the design of their bottles from time to time. So that could be, that right now, the version available out there as of now isn't as cherry cough syrupy as the first Hypnotic Poison Eau de Parfum only, not Eau de Toilette. Eau de Toilette has nothing to do with the Eau de Parfum in terms of that cherry, but that's the famous Dior cherry. You can love it or you can hate it. I hate it, but I also love it sometimes. I hate it more than I love it though, but I do look back at my Hypnotic Poison Eau de Parfum and I do wear it for Halloween a lot. That's kind of my, well, just watch the review of the perfume and you'll understand why I love it so much in Halloween. I'll put the link in the description box down below, but maybe also in the card section up above. But anyway, so this cherry is not even close to the synthetic cough syrup cherry in Hypnotic Poison Eau de Parfum. However, the cherry is there, and that cherry, I'm smelling now, plays a sort of swing game with the strawberry. Now, by swing, I don't want to say that they're kind of in some sort of, kinky swing relationship. No, they're more like friends on kids on a playground, and these kids might be also getting into a fight, but they never really do. They're just full of energy. They, how kids are. Kids can't control their energy. Like they're all over the place. They're jumping. They're going cuckoo and bananas until they lose their energy, and then they just collapse and fall asleep. That's what kids are famous for. Kids, unlike grown-ups, even though some grown-ups also don't know how to control their energy, but usually grown-ups, if you got to work 8 hours a day or 15 hours a day, you kind of know how to store your energy so that you can get through the day. Kids don't know how to do that. They don't know how to store energy. They just consume it all. They combust. They collapse, they're in a coma, they fall asleep, then they wake up again full of energy, and then they go all over the place like supernovas until they don't collapse again. This is similar. The game going on this play field with these two kids being the sugar-coated strawberry and that delicate cherry it's a crazy kind of combo because they keep just kind of like, blah, 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 they're all over the place. Smelling again. And we have that very distinct musk kick in. It's kind of like a parent. It's like telling the kids on the playground, kids, you're going to hurt yourself. Like, don't jump too much close to, I don't know, the swings or this or that. You can hurt yourself. You can hurt yourself. You know, it's like a boring parent that keeps telling, careful, careful, careful. But the kids are so full of energy, they can't stop themselves. So that's kind of what's going on here. And the musk, being a synthetic musk, is raining in synthetic cherries and synthetic strawberries. So kind of because they're all synthetic, it's like that's the surname of this family. It's like the synthetics. The synthetics are living on Trafalgar Square. Ha. And they're all red for some reason, because they're red fruits, basically. It cools down a little bit with time. It's not as sticky sweet later on in the game as it is in the opening. However, as I said before, it stays linear, meaning you're going to smell that sweet strawberry all the way through, even though the musk reins it in. And that strawberry is just going to literally be with the cherry squeaking all the time, like, yeah, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, until it literally just dies. And that's what's going to happen to this perfume. At one point, it's just going to be over. So it might last you 8 hours, 10 hours, on some skins, maybe even 6 or 4. But it's going to be the same smell until it's dead. And then when it's dead, it's gone. You got to reapply, and then the kid like wakes up again and is all over the place again. That's the concept of Rouge Trafalgar. Is it pleasant? Not pleasant enough to be a Maison Dior, a prestigious Maison Dior fragrance. It's a bit too naive for that, a bit too childish. And I have nothing against simplicity and linear structured fragrances, but for that price tag, there's better out there. And for that price tag, there's also wittier out there, stuff that's a bit more structured and studied. This seems quickly made and targeted to slightly younger audiences. I'm not saying kids because, well, some kids can just take their parents' credit cards and buy whatever they want, but most kids can't afford stuff like this. And this is an expensive perfume for what it is. So I don't understand what's the target. What is the target audience for this one? We're used to seeing Natalie Portman promoting, what is she promoting? The Lady Dior or perfumes for Dior. And it's so funny because then we have Keira Knightley promoting Coco Mademoiselle for Chanel, and they both look very similar. And actually Keira Knightley was the double of Natalie Portman in Star Wars, in the prequels. So because they look so similar. So it's so bizarre to me to see some Chanel commercials and some Dior perfume commercials and some Dior perfume commercials, with respectively Natalie and Keira, they just blend. They'll look the same. So I'm wondering, because like Natalie Portman is like promoting this youthful image through the Dior perfume ad that's running in ads now, of like love and the beach and the summer and the heat, and like are you ready to do whatever for love? Stuff like passionate, uncontrollable desire type of love that could be associated with first love that you feel when you're a teenager, that sort of freshness and naivete that you're going into life with or through, is maybe what they're trying to show with this. But then again, maybe in that case it works. But then again, okay, what teenager is going to go for Rouge Trafalgar? Then give it another name. Because this name has nothing to do with like teenies falling in love, This should have been more, when they named Poison Girl, and you could check out the review of Dior's Poison Girl Eau de Parfum, the first release, also on my channel. Link is also down there. I said, for Poison perfume, to call it girl, no. This should have been more girly. This should have had a girly name, This should have been, it doesn't have to have girl in the name, but, instead of Rouge Trafalgar, it should have been Girl Rouge or Girly Rouge or something like that, with Candy Girl. Candy, no, because Prada did Candy. But something that has nothing to do with wannabe sophistication because you're giving it the Trafalgar or Trafalgar Square or whatever the Trafalgar they're meaning here. You're giving the Trafalgar name so that it kind of has nothing to really do with directly linking yourself to puberty entering teenies that are going to feel love and emotions bubbling and bursting for the first time in their life, you know. Actually, I would go even lower than that in age terms. This isn't even for teenagers. This is even younger than that. This is right before you hit teeny time, I think. It's even that naive, you know. In fact, we're going back to the playground. It's like literally 2 kids, 8, 9 years old, maybe even younger. Because with 8 and 9, they start to control their energy. But we're still talking those kids that kind of are all over the place until they collapse. So I'm not quite sure what their target audience is. Longevity is good, however, if you want a sweet perfume to stick to you for hours and hours. And, but it doesn't have substance. It doesn't have substance. I'm sorry, Dior. You gotta focus more, Demachi. I mean, like, I know there are fans of Maison Dior out there and they're going to be like, Dacob, what are you saying? This is all amazing. I mean, if you love it, you love it. I'm just being honest with what I'm feeling here. And I'm feeling like this one was rushed. It feels rushed to me at the end of the day. And the day has ended and I'm collapsing because I have no energy left, just like a kid that has bursted out all its energy. And now it's like gone. The energy's gone. And that's exactly how this feels. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you like this review. Is it worth purchasing? Only if you have a huge budget and you do not care for, you know, really studied through sophistication of perfume, then it's worth it. But if you want your money to be spent on something where you really feel like, okay, work went into this. Somebody actually put quite a bit of thought into this. I'm not saying every perfume has to be super complex. I'm not saying every perfume has to be, you know, conceptually speaking, like brain masturbation. No, it doesn't have to be that way. You know, for God's sake, it really doesn't have to be that way. And I also like simplicity many a time. But give it a different name then. With the name, you're trying to make it sound more sophisticated than it is. You know what? Be more, that's the thing. Be honest about it. Call it for what it is. Give it the name it deserves to have for what it is. And call it a day and lower the price. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you liked this video. If you did, please do thumb it up and let me know what you think about this perfume and the Maison Dior fragrance range in general in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already here on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, Super Dacob all spelled together. And consider joining me on Patreon, becoming a patron. If you do, you get to see the videos hit Patreon before they hit YouTube. They premiere there first. They're always ad-free. A lot of videos are also exclusive to Patreon. They never hit YouTube. And in general, there's also a conversation going on there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all so much. Until next time, never forget to never give up on love. Love you all. See you soon. Take care. Bye.